Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. This is TPP and we back in the house and you all see the thumbnail, right? So, please hit that like, share and subscribe when you come in the building. So, I'm checking for the Talarico race in Texas, right? And this Tide poll ain't giving me the same excitement it would have a few years ago. So it's making me nervous. The numbers are making me nervous because I've heard these words before. Neck and neck, too close to call, within the margin of error, a race that could go either way. I don't know how it's looking in Texas, y'all.
We're just about 4 months away from the midterms, including what could be the most expensive Senate election in American history. It's unfolding in the state of Texas right now, and a fresh New York Times Siena poll shows Republican Ken Paxton and Democrat James Talarico locked in a tied race. Look at that, 47% each. Just days ago, thousands, including Talarico, gathered in Corpus Christi for the Lone Star State's Democratic Convention. Democratic nominee for Texas Governor Gina Hinojosa discussed the massive mobilization effort with CBS News.
Look, I see that right there. That should make us happy. That should make us Democrats happy. James Talarico running neck and neck with Ken Paxton in Texas. But I remembered, I heard that neck and neck sound, it came from Kamala. I can't say her name for nothing. Miss Harris. It came from Kamala's campaign. And before anybody gets confused, I ain't saying James Talarico is Kamala Harris. I ain't comparing their politics, their personalities, and their campaigns. I'm talking about the feeling. I remember watching those polls in 2024, neck and neck, too close to call, 1 point here, 1 point there, 2 points there. And I kept thinking to myself, there had to be voters out there those polls were not fully capturing, right? Many of these young voters, many women, many people who were quiet about their vote. I kept believing there was another pocket of voters somewhere that would push those Democrats over the line, push Kamala over the line. There were voters the Democrats had misunderstood. The problem was they weren't our voters. And I ain't forgot that. If you're a Democrat, you should never forget that. So when I look at James Talarico tied with Ken Paxton, I'm excited, but I ain't comfortable. Not at all. I want to know what's underneath those numbers, underneath that tie, that 47 and that 47. That's what I want to know. Who ain't answering the polls? Who says they support Talarico but may not vote? Who supports Paxton but ain't saying it out loud? Where are the black voters Talarico still has to earn? Where are the independent voters? Where are the Democrats in Texas who stopped voting because they got tired of being told their state could not be won and would never be blue? That is what I want to know, because I can't sit through another election like this 2024. Unknown, there's space out there unknown, and we think it's ours. Not again. James Talarico is looking shaky to me right about now. Not because of who he is, but because I recognize this feeling. The candidate looks good. The candidate is strong. The polls say the race is tight. The opponent has baggage. And Democrats are starting to believe like they never believed before. I believed before. This time I need to see the voters. Because neck and neck sounds amazing in July. Election night is where you find out whose neck was actually ahead. Hit the like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Please and thank you. The lesson I learned from Kamala Harris is that neck and neck don't mean what I used to think it meant. I used to hear a race was tied and think good. We're right there. All we have to do is push a little harder, turn out our people, and we can bring this home. I don't think like that no more. Now I hear tied and I start asking questions. Who are counting? Who are we counting that's not there? Who are we counting and that's going to vote for the other side? Who actually votes? Who is excited enough to show up? And who are Democrats assuming will come home at the last minute because the Republican is a piece of shit or a piece of trash or worse? The last question bothers me because we did a lot of assuming in 2024, didn't we? We assumed women understood the stakes with reproductive rights. We assumed young people understood the stakes with housing and affordability and free college and free healthcare. We assumed people who looked at Donald Trump remembered the chaos and failure of his first term and decided that they had enough of the race baiting, the bigotry, and the hate. We assumed people were tired of all of that race baiting and bigotry. All these people who voted for Donald Trump, they knew his baggage. They knew his record. They knew he was a scammer. Maybe not to the extent he is now, but every person that voted for Donald Trump knew he was a scammer nonetheless. And yet and still, they won. Yet and still, they voted for him. That changed the way I looked at polling. That changed the way I looked at elections. So James Talarico being tied with Ken Paxton is not enough for me to start planning his celebration. Listen to this video.
New poll shows the Texas Senate race is virtually tied right now. Republican Ken Paxton leads Democrat James Talarico 43 to 42%, well within the margin of error. The University of Texas polled 1,200 registered voters and found a major shift towards Paxton, who trailed by 8 points back in April. Talarico is still leading among independents and moderates. A new poll shows
So there it is again, tied. And I keep looking at the word, thinking about everything it does not tell me. It does not tell me whether Talarico's voters are going to show up. It does not tell me whether somebody likes him on TikTok but ain't never voted in a midterm election. It don't tell me whether a Democrat in Houston has already decided Texas is hopeless and ain't paying attention to this race. It don't tell me whether a Republican who says he's tired of Ken Paxton will get into that voting booth and vote Republican anyway. They got a tendency to do that. This is what scares me. We keep confusing dissatisfaction with defection. A Republican can complain about Ken Paxton all year and still go in there and vote for that piece of shit. We should have learned that with Trump. People told pollsters they were exhausted with Trump. They said they wanted less chaos for Trump. They complained about his behavior, his morality, everything. Then election day came and millions of people went right back home to the Republican Party and voted for that piece of shit and put us in the trouble that we're in right now. So James Talarico can't build a campaign around the belief that Ken Paxton's baggage will do the harm for him. And Democrats can't look at a tied poll and assume the missing votes are ours. We just can't take that chance. Okay. We did that with Kamala. Every unknown felt hopeful to us. Every close poll made us think there had to be a pocket of voters we had not fully seen yet. Maybe they were quiet. Maybe they were newly registered. Maybe they were women who didn't want their husbands to know how they plan to vote. I filled the gaps with the outcome I wanted. Everybody, all Democrats filled the gaps with whatever they wanted to hear. I ain't doing that in Texas. This time I want numbers behind these ties, numbers behind this 47 to 47. Mr. Talarico, show me where your voters are. Show me the people who did not vote in the last election but are registered now. Show me the communities where your support is growing. Show me the voters Ken Paxton is losing and tell me whether they are actually moving towards you. Because I don't like Paxton and I'm voting for Talarico ain't in the same motherfucking sentence. That difference can decide this race. I still believe James Talarico has an opportunity, but I ain't going to turn opportunity into victory in my head before Texas votes. The 2024 Democratic loss taught me better than that. This time, if there are hidden pockets of voters out there, I need Democrats to find them before the Republicans find them. Because I already know what it feels like to watch a neck and neck race and discover on election night that the voters I was hoping for were never coming to save our asses. I ain't interested in feeling like election night 2024 again. I ain't interested in feeling like that. And this is where James Talarico's black voter problem starts making me nervous. Because if this race is tied, I need to know where the votes are supposed to come from that can put him over the top. James Talarico, you cannot look at black voters and assume Ken Paxton will deliver them to you. And that is the same kind of assumption Democrats keep making and did make in 2024 with the scammer Trump. The Democratic Party thinks the Republican Party is trash. So black voters will show up. The stakes are too high, so black voters are going to show up. Our democracy is in danger, so black voters will show up. No. Hey, Democrats in Texas, Democratic Texas, you still have to ask for the vote. You still have to earn the vote. And right now, James Talarico has work to do. Jasmine Crockett connected with black voters in a way Talarico has not yet matched. Those voters did not disappear when the primary ended. Remember that. Let me play this video.
Broken fences in the Democratic Party is going to need some more time. Exhibit A, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett throwing out the R word squarely at her primary opponent's campaign.
People keep trying to say, well, Jasmine has to go and hold his hand. No, I don't. You see, a lot of haters got a lot of things to say about me and my race and how I ran it, but the reality is that there was a lot of races, not a lot. It was
Mending.
Then you got to contend with that. And yes, I'm looking at Jasmine Crockett too. I like Jasmine Crockett, but I got eyes and I got ears. That woman looks like she feels some type of way. Maybe I'm wrong. I ain't inside her head. But after people called for her to run, pushed her into this race, and built all the excitement around her, I can understand if losing left a scar. I understand the feeling. What I don't understand is pretending the political reality ain't sitting right there. James Talarico needs voters who trusted Jasmine Crockett. That does not mean Jasmine owns those voters. It does not mean Talarico is entitled to those voters. Black voters ain't Democratic property. And Jasmine Crockett ain't a black voter delivery service. James has to court those black voters himself. And I mean court them. Go where they are. Sit down with black women. Talk to the organizers who supported Jasmine. Go into Houston and Dallas and ask people why they chose her. Then shut up long enough to hear the answer. Because maybe part of the answer is that they saw a fighter. Nobody watches Jasmine Crockett and wonders whether she's afraid to fight the Republican. She ain't afraid to take it to him. James Talarico has a different style. Fine. I don't need James screaming and banging on tables because Jasmine did it. I need to know that calm voice of yours, James Talarico, that you can tell the Republicans to come get some of this action with steel behind your voice. Black voters need to know what happens when James Talarico gets to Washington and Republicans say no to his ass. What are you going to fight for, James Talarico? Voting rights, public education, healthcare, which is what I heard him say in one of these latest videos, right? Which is a good thing. It's a good thing. What happens when his beautiful speech is over and the bill is still dead? This is where the Kamala sunken stomach feeling for me starts showing up. Because I remember believing certain voters understood what was at stake in 2024. Maybe they did understand. Understanding ain't voting, though. Liking a candidate ain't voting. Being afraid of the Republican and understanding that they are an existential threat to our country and its survival ain't voting. James Talarico, I hope you got voter outreach. I hope you on your game. You understand me? If there are pockets of black voters in Texas who can change this race, then you better go find them. Don't wait until October. The highest voting we have ever done was during Barack Obama's campaign. You need to go find all of those voters, okay? Don't wait until October. Don't send Barack Obama into somebody's phone 2 weeks before election day telling black folk this is the most important election of our lifetime. We done heard that speech. Build the relationship with the black voters right now. And James, Mr. Talarico, you need to call Jasmine Crockett. Not for a picture, not for a fake unity event. You need to call her personally and ask what you're doing wrong. What are you missing? You need to call her and tell her you want to apologize for your voters who alienated the fucking black base in Texas. You need to tell her that you understand, but what went wrong with what went wrong, right? And you promised to never allow another opponent's voters to be marginalized like they felt that they were in Texas. You need to ask why black voters connected with her, and can she do anything to help you because you are asking sincerely as a colleague. Then you need to fucking listen. You need to fucking listen. Because Jasmine Crockett feels some type of way. And Jasmine, Miss Jasmine Crockett, I'm talking to you. You need to take his phone call. You need to take his phone call. And you ain't got to be James Talarico's cheerleader. Nobody asking you to do that. You ain't got to pretend you didn't get your ass handed to you by James Talarico. Yes, you did. But stop being petty. You went home with your marbles, and people have been begging you to help the party. I understand that you're helping down ballot races, but you're acting like Talarico personally cheated you, and he didn't. Enough is enough. Enough said. But we Democrats have a mutual enemy, Ken Paxton. And we all know he don't deserve to be a senator. We all know that. So Jasmine, stop making everybody look at you like you're petty instead of a team player. This is for the marbles in Texas. We cannot watch another neck and neck election and find out afterward that the votes we needed were sitting in communities we already knew we had failed. We need to reach into the black community. We see this big black hole over there by the black community. Let's fix it before election day. Because if James Talarico loses Texas by 1 or 2 points, I don't want people standing around saying the black people not voting made us lose Texas, because that is the narrative I can hear emerging right now. I can see the play. The better question should be, what did Talarico do to earn or lose that vote? That's what we want to focus on. We don't want to focus on, oh, y'all black folk didn't vote for Talarico. That's why he lost. No, we don't want to give y'all no excuse to say we helped lose Texas. Now let's talk about Ken Paxton, because there's another mistake I made in 2024 that I refuse to make again. And we Democrats need to no, we ain't doing it again. I thought the baggage mattered more than it did. We knew who Donald Trump was. We knew the scandals. We knew the court cases. We knew the chaos. We know he is just rich trash. I keep thinking there had to be a point where people looked at Donald Trump and said enough is enough. A whole lot of them never did. Even today, a whole lot of y'all still say, let me lick Trump's boots. A lot of y'all still licking Trump's boots. So I'm not looking at Ken Paxton's baggage and assuming Texas voters will automatically punish the man. They still want to lick Donald Trump's boots. Let me play this video. we still see that man ain't shit and that man is trash. But they will go into the booth. The Republicans will go into the booth and vote for that trashy ass man. See, this is where Democrats can get lazy. We watch something like this and we say, well, surely the voters gonna understand. They're gonna see that he's trash. Yeah. They might see it. That don't mean they care enough to change their vote. Ken Paxton was impeached by the Republican-controlled Texas House. He was acquitted by the Texas Senate. Republicans know who he is. Republicans ran attack ads against him when they were running Cornyn, when they wanted Cornyn to be in that seat instead of Paxton. Republicans know his history. They know he trash. Texas knows his name. And this man still defeated John Cornyn and is now running for the United States Senate. Make it make sense. So James Talarico better not sit around waiting for Ken Paxton to defeat himself. Trump taught me that scandal do not kill a Republican candidate when his voters have already decided that every accusation is just a political accusation. The more you attack Ken Paxton, some of them dig in even harder. That means Talarico has to do something more difficult. He has to connect Paxton's record to the lives and difficulties of Texas voters. Don't just tell Ken Paxton. Don't just tell me Ken Paxton has baggage. Don't just tell the Texas people that he has baggage. Tell them Ken Paxton's policies, what he has done to hurt the Texas people. Talk to the teachers, the women. Talk to the families worried about health care, gas, and housing problems. Talk to the people watching their rights become another Republican campaign issue. Make it real. Connect Paxton to Texas failure to come through to the Texas voters. Because voters can ignore a scandal that feels far away. It's harder to ignore something touching your own house. And James, Mr. Talarico, Ken Paxton is going to come after your ass. He's going to attack your faith. He's going to call you radical. He's going to take something you said, cut it down to 8 seconds, put in some dark music to it, and tell Texas you're coming to destroy everything. They're going to say you're a communist. We know the playbook. This is the Republican playbook. So what are you going to do, Talarico? Here comes the queasy stomach, my queasy stomach again. This part right here. I watch Democrats spend too much time explaining the accusations that Republicans made against them. Stop that. Forget that. Let them call you whatever they want to call you. Every lie became a conversation piece. Every attack got a response. Republicans set the agenda. And Democrats showed up to answer the fucking agenda, question by question. Fuck that. Make Paxton defend Paxton. When he calls you a radical, when Ken Paxton calls you a radical, Mr. Talarico, ask him, is it radical to have 4 employees call him out for inappropriate use of taxpayer dollars? When he starts a cultural war fight, ask him how does being a serial cheater help Texas be respected around the world and in Texas? When he tries to scare voters with the word Democrat, ask him to name one goddamn policy that he wants to implement that can lower housing prices for Texans. Do not let him choose your battlefield every day, goddammit. You don't have to answer every culture war bullshit they throw at you. Republicans have no policies for the American people. They have no policies, and they don't want to fight on the policy playing field. They only want to fight on the cultural war playing field because they do nothing for everyday Americans, everyday Texans. They want to fight about abortion, gay people, trans, Obama's supposed racism, and Hunter Biden. They want to fight on that bullshit. You don't fall into their trap. You have a response for everything they're going to say. And then you put it back on him to say he's not taking care of the Texas people. Let me play this clip.
James Talarico says his focus in November. As Talarico campaigned in Dallas this afternoon, he also spoke with our Eye on Politics reporter Jack Fink about the Republicans' midterm convention coming to the city.
James Talarico's visit to North Texas comes as he is in a dead heat against Republican Ken Paxton in this race for U.S. Senate. And I asked Talarico how he intends to win in November.
And so how we win is focusing on the things that are actually impacting Texans. And I think if we do that, and if we bring people together around some common sense solutions to lower our costs, to raise our pay, to get this economy back on track, I think we're going to be successful in November.
Talarico toured a food pantry in West Dallas where he said he was told the need for food has surpassed the need during the pandemic. He wants to create a federal public health insurance option like Medicare for all and have it compete with private insurance, raise the federal minimum wage from $7.25 an hour to $15 an hour, and increase taxes on the wealthy.
Now, those are policies a lot of us can get behind. Those are policies that people can get behind. That's the man people are responding to. I see the calm, the faith. I see why Democrats like him. Now I need to see the fighter in you. I need to see that. I need you to put your straps. I need you to put boots to ass, straps to ass on these Republicans. Bible study is open. It's over. Bible study is over. Religion, no religion, just grit, pure grit. You're running against Ken Paxton for a seat in the United States Senate. You don't have to scream. You don't have to become nasty. You don't have to become somebody you ain't, but you better start fighting. You better put up a better fight because people see this is the problem. The reason why people liked Jasmine Crockett is because she was a fighter, because she didn't mind taking it to the Republicans. You have to show us that you can take it to the Republicans and you can be a fighter for better housing, lower prices. Ken Paxton, what has he done for the Texas people? What does he plan to do? He has no policies. They have no policies. Tie him to the failing policies of Texas. That's what you do. Tie him to the failing policies of Texas. All of the surrogates for Ken Talarico need to tie the policies that are failing in Texas to Ken Paxton. Because Ken Paxton ain't going to lose this race simply because Democrats believe James Talarico is a better person. Yeah. I thought character would move more voters in 2024. I did. I was wrong. I thought people would look at Donald Trump, look at everything they already knew about that man, and decide character still mattered enough to change their vote. Character don't matter to Republicans. They don't care about character. They don't care about anything else except winning. For a whole lot of people, character didn't matter. They could dislike the behavior and still vote for him. They could complain about the chaos and still vote for him. They could say they wished he would stop talking so much, saying all that negative stuff so much, stop posting so much, stop insulting people, and then walk into the voting booth and fill in the circle next to his goddamn name. That taught me something right there. Disapproval is not defection. And James Talarico better understand that when he looks at Ken Paxton and start punching back. Yeah, I might be a Democrat, but I have policies for the Texas people. What policies do you have? Do you have a health care plan for Texas? Do you have free schooling for Texas? Do you have minimum wage raised for Texas? What do you have for Texans, Ken Paxton? You need to take it to him like that. Okay. A Republican voter can tell you Ken Paxton has too much baggage and still go in there and vote for that piece of trash. They can shake their head at the scandals. They can say, I don't like what he's done. They can tell a pollster they have concerns. Then election day comes around and they see that R next to his name and muscle memory takes over. That is why Talarico cannot make this race about whether Ken Paxton is a good man or a bad man. He has to make the choice affect the people. You pick Ken Paxton and your taxes are going to get higher. You pick Ken Paxton and your gas prices are going higher. You pick Ken Paxton and your food prices are going to go higher. You pick Ken Paxton and your electric bill is going to go up higher. James Talarico has to make the choice affect people personally, because people don't change if it don't affect them. Make it personal. What has he done for the Texas people? If I'm a teacher in Texas, tell me what the difference between Ken Paxton and James Talarico means when I walk into a classroom. If I'm a mother worried about healthcare, tell me what changes for my family if I don't get healthcare. Ken Paxton ain't talking about healthcare. You're talking about healthcare. Tell me what's going to change for me. If I'm a black voter worried about voting rights, don't just tell me Paxton is dangerous. Tell me what James Talarico is prepared to fight for when voting rights legislation hits the Senate and Republicans try to block it. What you going to stand up and say? What you going to stand up and do? And if I'm independent who has voted Republican for 20 years, don't ask me to suddenly fall in love with the Democratic Party. Tell me why James Talarico is the better choice for my life, my community, and my state. Give people a reason to vote for you. Stop worrying about what Ken Paxton and his shitty lifestyle is doing to the Republican Party. Don't worry about his shitty lifestyle. The Republicans don't give a shit about shitty lifestyle. They voted for a shitty ass scamming president. They don't give a damn about lifestyle. Because shaking your head at Ken Paxton ain't a vote for James Talarico. Being embarrassed by Ken Paxton and every Republican who voted for Ken Paxton should be embarrassed. But it ain't a vote for James Talarico. Being tired of Ken Paxton ain't a vote for James Talarico. Talarico has to close that fucking gap. He has to take a voter from I don't like Paxton to I'm voting for James. Those are two completely different political positions. And Democrats learned that lesson a hard fucking way in 2024. I learned it quick. We knew Trump's baggage. We knew he was trash. Everybody knows he's trash. Yet voters knew Trump's baggage. They knew he was trash. A lot of them knew he was trash. The problem was that knowing the trash and deciding to leave the Republican Party because it were two different things. James, don't wait for Ken Paxton's baggage to beat Ken Paxton up. Give Texas a reason to choose you. James Talarico cannot afford to learn that lesson on election night. Okay? Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe. Please and thank you. I appreciate the like. Everybody knows how YouTube works. Please and thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. And now I need to talk to Democrats, right? Because this is the part that feels the most familiar. A candidate we like is running neck and neck. We get excited. We start sharing clips. We start talking about momentum. We start imagining the seat changing hands. We did all of that with Kamala Harris. And somewhere between the polling and election day, Hope started doing work with the campaign and the party needed to do. I ain't doing that with James Talarico. If this race is tied, act like it's tied. Put the money into Texas. Put organizers on the ground. Go find the Democrats who stopped voting because they believe Texas cannot be won. Go find those 20, 30, 50,000 voters that didn't vote for Jasmine Crockett. Get on college campuses. Build the black voter operation. Find the independents who say they're tired of Ken Paxton and make damn sure being tired turns into a vote for Talarico. Because I learned something in 2024. A voter being unhappy does not mean that voter is coming for you. A voter saying they want change does not mean they agree on what that change should look like. And a close poll does not mean the people you need are going to show up. That is why I keep asking where the voters are. And I'm hoping there are pockets in Texas these polls ain't fully captured. I hope there are black voters who did not choose Talarico in the primary, but are willing to hear him now. Hopefully there are those voters. I hope there are young voters who see something in this man. I hope there are Democrats who gave up on Texas are still starting to believe. I hope the ones who stopped believing will start to believe now. I hope there's independents looking at Ken Paxton and saying they've had enough. But hope is exactly what made me comfortable in 2024. So this time I need somebody to go find them people, register them, talk to them, organize, have town meetings, then get them to the polls. Because Texas does not have to turn blue for Talarico to win. I need Democrats to understand that he needs to cut those margins in half. Instead of 75-25 in one county, we need James to cut that 75-25 down to 50-50 or even 60-40. We need him to cut those tallies down, those margins down. I need Democrats to understand that. I don't need Texas to be California. I don't need millions of Republicans to wake up one morning and fall in love with the Democratic Party. I just need James Talarico to get more votes than Ken Paxton. That is his job. And every part of the coalition matters when the race is this close. James has to court the black voters. He has to build on whatever support he has with independents. He has to give young voters a reason to do more than like his videos. Take your motherfucking ass into conservative platforms and talk to those people. Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro, all of those young conservative people that Donald Trump went and talked to. You do it too. Go talk to them. Tell them what you want to do for them. Tell them why you're the best candidate. Tell them why you're the alternative that's a better alternative than Ken Paxton. You can find a better way for Texas. That's what I need you to do. He has to find Democrats who have been sitting at home. And yes, he has to find some Republicans who may never put a Democratic bumper sticker on their car, but are willing to vote for Ken Paxton when nobody is looking. Why? Because immigration. You put some of my family members in handcuffs. You still doing it. I need you to find all of those disgruntled immigrant people, all those disgruntled people who are related to immigrants, people who came here and who understand the stakes now. All of those people, the Hispanic group that understand the stakes now. I need you to go get those people. Find them, because that is the part I got wrong in 2024. I kept wondering whether there was a quiet vote out there for Kamala. Women who were not telling their husbands, Republicans who were embarrassed by Trump, people who were tired of the chaos. I believe they were there in numbers large enough to make the difference. Then election night came. The hidden vote I was hoping for didn't save us. So, James, I ain't filling in your missing numbers with my imagination no more. Show me. Show me what time it is. Show me what you got that we can use. Show me that you know how to fight. Show us. Let me show you this video. Give me this video. Hold on. Here it is.
If we come together, if we win this seat, we can ensure that we protect Hispanic Texans, protect our immigrant neighbors, and ensure that all of us can.
It went too short. But that's as far as I can get. Okay, that was short. Somehow it's short. That man has my attention. But attention ain't a vote. A viral video ain't a vote. A tied poll ain't a vote. James Talarico, you are giving me Kamala Harris anxiety. And I don't mean your politics. I don't mean your personality. I mean this feeling in my gut. This neck and neck feeling. This feeling that tells me the votes might be sitting out there somewhere if Democrats can just reach them. I have felt this feeling before. This time, I don't want to hope the voters are there. I want the Talarico campaign to know where they are. I want Democrats knocking on their doors. Texas Democrats, get to knocking. I want black voters courted before the emergency. I want young voters organized before the final week. I want every person tired of Ken Paxton asked directly to their face for their vote. Because I cannot sit through another election night and find out the hidden vote was real. It wasn't ours. James, you got the opening. Democrats, you got the warning. Now go find the damn voters before Ken Paxton finds the fucking voters. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe, please. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. So let me lead this right here. James Talarico is looking for the new Kamala. He's looking like the new Kamala to me. And again, I ain't saying he is Kamala Harris. I'm talking about the feeling. That feeling of watching a candidate you believe can win lose. The polls are close. The Republican candidate has enough baggage to fill an airport. People are excited. The clips are moving. The possibility feels real. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I hear that 2020 bail, that 2020 defeat, ugly defeat ugly defeat. Neck and neck. Too close to call. Within the margin of error. I remember it all. I also remember election night. So, James, I like you. I believe you have something Democrats need in the Senate. But I ain't going to love you into the United States Senate. I ain't finna do that. You need the votes. You need to work. You need black votes. You have not fully connected with. You need them. Go get them. Go court them. You need Jasmine Crockett's voters to look at you and see their candidate too. Don't ask Jasmine to deliver them. Earn them. You need independents who say they're tired of Ken Paxton to actually vote against Ken Paxton. That's where you have the Democratic coalition knocking on doors, black folk knocking on doors, understanding the stakes. Ask for the vote. You need young people who share your videos to show up at the polls. Organize. You need to go on those right-wing podcasts. Joe Rogan. I don't know all of those right-wing. I can't name them right now, but you need to you need to be hitting those doors. Okay? And Democrats, give this man the resources to find those voters now, not in October, not when another poll comes out. Black Democrats. I get it. I do. You're disappointed with Jasmine Crockett. You're disappointed with his supporters. You're disappointed with Jasmine Crockett not winning. You're mad at Talarico supporters. I understand that. I get it completely and totally. Okay? But this is the car that we need to get to the destination that we need to get to. This is the only car that's going to take us to the destination that we need to go to. Okay? So I need you to listen to James Talarico again. Listen to what he has to say with an open ear and an open mind. Jasmine Crockett, I need you to pick up the phone. I need you to do some of the hardest. I need you to mute yourself and think of somebody else beyond you. I need you to do that. I need you to take a team hit. How many times have you been asked to take a hit for the party? Have you been asked to take a hit for the party? This is the time to take the hit for the party. Okay? Now, and I get it. I do. James Talarico, you need to reach out. I'm hoping there are pockets of voters in Texas these polls ain't fully capturing. I'm hoping the numbers underneath this tie are better than they look. But I learned my lesson. Hope ain't turnout. Hope ain't organization. Hope ain't the Senate seat. James Talarico, you got my attention the first time I saw you. Now you got me nervous. This ain't necessarily a bad thing. It means I think you're close enough to win. But please don't make me sit here on election fucking night saying the same thing I said in 2024. I really thought the voters were there. You need to find them, James Talarico. Go get them. And that means you need to show your fight and your grit and take the damn seat away from Ken Paxton because he don't deserve it and you know he don't deserve it. So you do what needs to do. You do what needs to be done in order to get that seat away from that person that's wholly incompetent and wholly unqualified for that seat. And you know that's your seat, so go get it. And that means you need to be a fighter like Jasmine. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Let me read some of these comments in the comment section. Okay, let's read some of the comments in the comment section. Let's go. What we got? Okay. Some of y'all just be talking, I swear. So, we want that to be the narrative that he lost because he didn't get the black vote. That's what we want, HQ. And why would you say that? Please hit the like. Black people aren't going to vote for him. He hasn't reached out to any. That's my whole point. That's the whole point of this whole conversation. Please reach out. He will lose by 5 to 8 points. Well, we'll see. Okay. We ain't hoping that. Okay. Somebody, look what retard Jimmy from Philly said. Shut the fuck up, you dumb CUNT. Look at what Jimmy from Philly, the retard, said. Democrats want slavery. Are blacks really going to vote Democrat or decide that for blacks and stop? You need to do some more reaching out, my friend. She feels away from disrespect. I understand that she feels some way from disrespect. I get that. I get all of that. Okay. But wounds have to heal. She can't be petty and angry, continue to be petty and angry and rise in the Democratic Party. If she decides that she doesn't want to be in the Democratic Party anymore and she doesn't want to run anymore, then I can understand her attitude. I can understand that. Okay. But you're not, if you ain't a team player in politics, how are you going to get any further than where you're at if you're not going to be a team player? I get it. Sometimes you got to take the hit. Sometimes you got to take the hit. It just is what it is. I get that. And and she has to take the hit or help take the hit. I don't know. He's a fighter. Give him a chance. We have no choice. Otherwise, we get MAGA morons. I get that too. I'm a vote blue no matter who type person. That's the type person that I am. Because I understand that the other side is an existential threat to our country. That the other side has no intention of putting our country on a good footing with all of its people and all of its citizens. I understand that the other side has no policies that help the American people. There's not one policy that they have put forward that has helped the American people. Rescind those tax cuts. Take them tax cuts back. That would be my first thing. Take those tax cuts back because they didn't help the American people. Okay. What else? Let me see. He ain't gonna be hey, big head. You're asking for respect and you up here. Don't worry about what the fuck. Don't worry about me cussing. I cuss all day and twice on Sunday, and I didn't ask you for respect. That's goofy. We do not care, signed a black Texan voter. Shut up. Okay. Is Talarico not doing that? Not from Texas, so I don't know. I'm not from Texas either, so I don't know either. I'm just saying he has to reach out. He has to do some things, okay? He has to do some things in order to catch those voters, okay? And that means spending money. He has to put some money back into the community, okay, in order to get what he wants to get out of it. He just does, okay? You do realize that the KKK and generally the Southeast is complete corn. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. You're afraid of Talarico because he is a good man. Republicans don't have any way to fight truth. That's true. I hope he wins. He's the blue. I vote blue no matter who. He's my candidate. You know, sure, I would love to see Jasmine Crockett do what Jasmine Crockett do. But Jasmine Crockett has to be professional. No, not professional. She now, not in her past life, not professional, but when it comes to the Democratic Party, that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. They get in line. We got to fall in love with folks. We get hurt feelings. We don't have, our country is in peril. Our country is in a downward spiral. We don't have time for your feelings. I get it that she was hurt. I get that she was disrespected. But did Talarico do that? No. If you want to have any future in the Democratic Party, you need to start figuring out the road to go and telling people, I just want to work for down ballot when they keep saying work for Talarico, help Talarico, work for Talarico, and you keep saying, no, I ain't working for Talarico. I'm just gonna work down race ballots. That's not team player attitude. Okay. And that's going to alienate a lot of your base. President Trump is toppling he's corrupt his own self. So why don't he topple his own self? How are you this old and so dumb? I'm just so old and so dumb. I just don't know. I don't know how I am. And you sound dumb when you say shit like this. Okay. The fatigue is real. Yes, it is. It's goddamn real. It's 400 years worth of real. Why are Democrat voters against integrity? I don't know why you Republicans are against integrity. Y'all voting for trash candidate. Y'all voting for the trash president. Y'all voting for the trash Ken Paxton. What do you mean? Y'all don't have any integrity. Okay. Come on. Yeah, I keep messing up. Sassy black woman. Whoa. Democrats hasn't done anything for people. And that's your problem with the business. That's your problem. Okay. Black Republican Brian Maxwell. Well, I'm happy for you. What have Republicans haven't done anything for Democrats? The whole point is Republicans don't have any intention of doing anything for Democrats. No, Republicans have no intention of doing anything for the people. They don't have no intention of doing anything. At least the Democrats have the intention of doing some things. Republicans have no intention of giving y'all health care, no intention of giving y'all free college, no intention of giving y'all free lunch, no intention of raising the minimum wage. They have no intention of doing any of those things that would fundamentally change your way of life. At least the Democrats are talking about doing those things. That's the difference. You want to say they're the same? Y'all side, the Republican side, ain't trying to do none of that. As long as they're not trying to do none of that, you should never vote for them, because they ain't trying to do anything for the American people. And those are the things that the American people need done. They need those things done. Specifically, they need minimum wage raised, and they need universal health care. As long as the Republicans ain't talking about that, they're not talking about nothing. Okay, so that's my whole point. What are the Republicans planning to do, or do they want to do? They don't want to do none of that. So therefore, they're not trying to help the American people. So the better choice is Talarico, who is talking about universal health care and raising minimum wage. Soon as somebody talking about those two things that are help the American people, don't ask nobody to vote for no Republican if they're not trying to help the American people. We talking about putting policies on the board. Okay. Typical black. I want free. You goofy as hell, Joshua. You goofy as hell, seeing as how white people get the most free shit. You goofy as hell. Then why complain about no free food? That's complaint. That's wild. These boomers are stupid. Yes, we are. We are. And we understand the race and we understand politics way more than you all ever would. So hit the like, share, and subscribe. Hit the hate. Do whatever engagement you got going on. Okay? Yes. I understand that, Denzel. Goofy. As per usual, I get all the goofy ones. I'll see you in the next video.